What is up, assholes? Welcome back to another episode of Call to the Fan Leagues. Sorry for the break, my brain hates me. But in better news, Full Metal has kept their shit going with this team's tournament, getting singles matches out, and their geek road to the title has been continuing. But in multiplex, today's episode is another multiplex episode because everything that they've done has led up to tomorrow. Tomorrow is their big mid-year event, Mayhem at the Multiplex 3. And we should talk about the matchups because they're pretty important matchups. And with me, I have a member of the Kingsmen, someone who's also worked with Multiplex, so he actually knows more than I do, hopefully. And just really fucking cool dude, and like one of my favorite DMs I've ever had, Mr. Douglas Cassel.
Hey, how's everybody doing? I don't know if I really know about as much as you do. I edit videos, so I know a few things. I don't know a lot of the verdicts on this, so we're kind of going in blind. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right. So, I won't show it because I have my handwriting and it looks like Doug. So let's just tell you guys. So this first video, the first of 3 videos for Mayhem at the Multiplex, the first match in it will be a fan zone debate between Caleb Boatman and Cody Newberry, and the second is a faction 4v4. Each faction split 2 people over here, like 2 people from each faction, but they're playing against each other. On the left side, we have the Kingsmen and the First Order teaming up against the Criterion Collection and Cinema Asylum. I think this first thing is actually pretty easy to break down, Doug, because you have Caleb Boatman, one of my closest friends in the family community, really good guy. And Cody Newberry, who is like the undisputed like debate champion pretty much everywhere, mostly because he can yell at people and they'll just shut up. I think it's a pretty open and shut case. As much as I like Boatman more, Cody's gonna like destroy this debate match.
All right, so I'm gonna play devil's advocate because everybody's gonna go and say Cody right away. Here's one thing that I like about Boat's style. I've faced Boat before, and I know what Boat's really good at. He's good at prepping what people are going to say against his argument, and it really does work a lot. But in all honesty, if you look at it, just look at the records themselves. This is an exhibition match, so it doesn't count towards either's record if Cody decides to actually throw his hat in the ring, or if Boat decides to continue doing fan zone. I think this is a lot of fun because it's a different territory too. It's actual movies and then fandom movies. Like it's general movies and then fandom movies. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun regardless, whoever wins. My pick for it though is Cody, just because of how much, I guess, like how much preparation Cody does into these things that a lot of people just don't do.
See, that's fair, but at the same time, Boatman's also prepping for his singles title defense. Like, he could be putting all of his time into that, and rightfully he should be, because I think Fanzone doesn't require as much research, but you still have to sort of concede the fact that it's just really rough to just get through. Sorry, my ears are just getting blown up.
You're good. Facing Cody is a big task.
Yeah.
Regardless of how you go into it, he's going to get under your skin at parts, and then you're going to want to just say things that aren't necessarily right, and then messes up your argument. I like Cody's tactic a lot as a person that debates as well. Cody's got a solid tactic. Boat's got a solid tactic too, because he can counter a lot of the stuff because he figures out what people are going to say bad against him. So it's going to be a really tough one for Cody, but I think at the end of the day, I do think Cody's going to pull it out.
Yeah. Even Malcolm in the chat. Like, yeah, Cody cannot lose this debate. Like, it's just not going to happen. I don't think never is true. I'm pretty sure he's lost like 1 or 2 over in other league, but it's Cody. Yeah, Cody Newberry is pretty unstoppable in debate. Never mind. He's 20-0. That's
never
rough.
Lost. Never lost.
Will Caleb Bowen be his first loss? No.
Well, even if it is, it still doesn't go against his record.
You're right. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Cody can come and say anything that he wants, and then wait, is there someone?
Ignore who's backstage, just watching us being idiots.
No, I'm genuinely excited for this because I think both of them are really good and have different strategies and different tactics.
Yeah. And then we come to the 4v4, which I think is really interesting. Again, you have the Kingsmen in the First Order versus Criterion Collection and Cinema Asylum. I mean, when you break it down, the two best factions, the two good factions. Like, I think while I have some arguments about some of the way things are structured, of like just within the factions in general, I think this is hard for them to lose. Yeah, I'm
Pay no attention to that.
For once, I am the unbiased one in this, the person who has all the opinions. I don't know. I just think the Kingsmen in First Order generally has higher quality competitors than the Cinema Asylum and Criterion, and that's no shade to those two. Criterion still had team champions, and Cinema Asylum still had fandom that were contenders, and again, one of the biggest threat in singles, Kurt Kolakowski. There's always a possibility, and we don't know who's in the match yet. It could be anyone from any of the four factions. I just don't see it happening that the Criterion Cinema Asylum can win. The CCs.
If you take, I don't know how this 4v4 is breaking down. I'm gonna try to be as completely unbiased as possible. You take it. If you take it by, let's say it's a 50-50 match. It's half fandom, half Warzone, which I'm assuming it's probably going to be. You take the people who are champs in the one sense and mix it up. It's a 50-50. You take the four best players in both factions, and even with me being unbiased, it's still Kingsman First Order.
Yeah.
It's a tough mountain to overcome. You're going to want to say it's probably going to be Boat. It's probably going to be Scully.
I think Bowman's busy with the title match. I think this way this breaks down is you just take the established teams and let them run. They have the chemistry, let them do it. Yeah, you always have Koa Holtzman as like the best 50-50 players. And then in the Kingsmen, you maybe have like Jake Marangoni, who's great in Warzone and he's good in fandom. And I don't know who his partner would be. Maybe get Tuig to round it out, to like round out the fandom stuff. I don't know. And then you look at
Cinema Asylum and Criterion. You probably would get one of the second real. Probably.
I would say just again lean with the
Matt
team.
did a great job.
Actually, you're not wrong.
And then
you could just get Blockbuster, like Blockbuster and Necro. Have those be the two teams. Again, you have two good 50-50 teams on that side, and you have a good 50-50 team and a great Warzone and fandom player on the other side. It balances out a bit. There's always a possibility.
But even if you take that at what it is, and we stick with that's the 4v4, you have a really big hurdle to climb if you are the Cinema Asylum and Criterion.
Yeah.
Just because as the weakest player of the Kingsmen, if you see my record this year, I am officially the weakest player of the Kingsmen. These guys are so good. Like just in study sessions, as well as the First Order. First Order is ridiculously good. Like they don't have a bad player in their roster. Cinema Asylums, they have a couple weak sides. You know, there's a couple things that they can rush and stuff like that. And like it depends on who's getting flustered. Criterion, they have a solid setup, but it's same thing. Some of them are easy rattled.
It also just comes down to the size of the roster. Because Kingsman's First Order, their rosters are full. You can see the flag behind you. It's stacked. There's no room for anyone else.
That's not even all the players. We still have like 3 more players.
Exactly.
Koho's in the chat. Koho, how many other players do we have that is not on this shirt?
And then on top of that, like Cinema Asylum, I think has half the roster full, and then Criterion has, I think, like 4 spots available. You have so much potential for growth there that like even if you remove like some of the top talent, namely like let's remove Boatman and Scully from the Kingsman equation. You still have incredible competitors who aren't already playing in the event. Same goes for Michael Campbell and Nick Tuig.
Yeah.
That's a stacked roster. Meanwhile, you have Jay and Mark, who are busy prepping for their match against Knights of Ren. So then it comes down to, I think, 3 people they have remaining.
Jurassic Sharks.
And Jacoby.
And Jacoby. Brian's not a part of the faction, right?
Yeah, no. So again, you have a really limited roster to work with. I think the breadth and the number of players that are available help give the edge to the first Kings or whatever.
The first Kings.
I like dumb names.
The Kingsmen's Orders.
Yep. We will move on to video number 2. You have your undercard. Wow. Caleb Boatman versus Michael Campbell.
That is an insane undercard.
It is. It's a Shmonon reference. And your actual title card is Necronomicon versus the current champion, Knights of Ren. Also, apparently, Doug, you're more correct with team name estimation.
The King's Order. I was close. I like it.
Yeah. So, again, we're both a little biased. Caleb Boatman gonna murder Michael Campbell. Like, you can jump back to a couple weeks ago when I did my singles tournament predictions with Barr and Kirk. I think this was Michael's tournament to win. I think he had a really dominant level of play, including beating some of the strongest competitors available. But it comes down to I think Michael's just not good enough to beat Boatman, and that's hard to say. Nothing against Michael, just Boatman's one of the best players I've ever seen in any Fan League period.
For me, Boat's study method and how much he studies is it's insane. Now I'm not saying Michael doesn't study the same, but I've personally seen Boat just study and watch film and retain the knowledge that he obtains. It's really hard to discount that. Even with me trying to be as unbiased as possible, Michael ran through this tournament. He had a hard time to get there, and he still, won. But also, Michael isn't always the luckiest when it comes to wheel spins, and he isn't always the luckiest when it comes to questions. That's just how it rolls. Sometimes he doesn't know the movie. Sometimes he gets really bad spins. This year in the tournament, he only got his strength, I think, once, if I'm not mistaken. I edited a lot of matches, and I'm trying to remember. But I honestly have to go with Boat. I think Boat's got it in the bag on this one. I think he's not scared, and I think he's prepared.
Fair. I have nothing to add. And for reference, I'm not saying Michael Campbell's a bad competitor. Far from it. The man scares the shit out of me. I've been beaten by him already twice. I'm scared enough. But again, I think inarguably, I think Boatman's probably the greatest singles player we have in the Fan Leagues period today. No question. Not to inflate his ego, but
yeah, Boat, not to inflate your ego at all. There's a reason your name is second on this shirt. Only to the king. No, but I genuinely think Boat's probably one of the best players to probably play the game. He's smart. He understands the game and how it's played, especially in Warzone. Not to discredit him in fandom, but in Warzone specifically, he is a player that is a dominant force.
I think if Boatman wasn't such a dominant singles player, he could be just as dominant threat in fandom. I think he's that ready. Not ready. What's the word? He has that much potential as a player. Infinite potential, infinite growth possibility.
So Boat's one issue, Koho has kind of taken the one issue that Boat has in fandom and tuned it down, which was the betting round. The betting round is pretty much everybody's enemy, if we're being honest.
Koho's acquisition of Mischief Manage is what made them team champions. It locked them both on the betting round. It gave them someone who can push them to study and be the team that they need to be. But yeah, not to suck Koho's dick because he's in the live chat, but he pushed Boatman to be where he is today.
I am obligated by contractual duties to make sure that Coho knows that he is one of the best managers in the league. But no, this year's been insane watching the growth of Mischief and just the dominating force of Boatman. It's been insane to watch.
Speaking of a dominating force, we have the greatest fandom team of all time, Knights of Ren versus Necronomicon. Knights of Ren scares the shit out of me, so they're going to win this match.
Knights of Ren scare the shit out of everybody. Let's be honest. Arkham Knights were a great team, but Knights of Ren take it to a whole nother level for me, because like it's Tim and Tuig work together so well. It's insane. Necro has said it themselves. They don't lose number one contenders matches. They lose championships. And it's nothing against them, because I think they're a solid team. I think it's insane, the ability and the knowledge that Tuig has, and the ability to kind of like keep up with him at that point in Tim. Tim is incredible. He's an incredible fandom player. Add that with Tuig, and it's a dominating force, as we've already seen. And yes, they are undisputedly the best fandom team of all time.
I think this is interesting, and we'll talk about it more. I think leading into the next video. I think the same thing pushing I think the same thing with Coho pushing Scully and Bowman to be the best team possible. I think that Cody is the reason that Nick Tuig is the dominant and scary force that he is today. We already knew that Tim was great, and he already carried Nick Carley through that team's tournament. But Nick Tuig is a different player that he is this season.
So I'll push back a little bit on that. I do think Cody is a great manager, and I think he hones in great talent. And like I said, he's a great manager. Tuig was playing like this before anything, with a player that we won't mention. They broke a record until a record was just recently broken. Tuig is a dominant force in his own. He doesn't. He went from being humble to being a heel, but and that's Cody's doing. Cody, he was a kind, gentle soul, and you corrupted him.
You broke him.
You broke him. No, heel Tuig is my favorite thing ever, because he's so funny.
I will say also, just in the midst of the player that is Nick Tuig, I am currently working with my player, David Garcia, to prep for the possibility of facing Nick Tuig in the finals of Full Metal Geek. Nothing has scared me more as this season, as I continue to fight up and higher to try and become to try and fight the best of the best. No one has scared me more than Nick Tuig. I put David through so much shit prepping for his next few matches, and the fact that I don't know, he feels different this season. Maybe that's just me. I feel like he's a different player this season than he was last season. Maybe it's just that he's mean to me now. I don't know.
Maybe it's because he's throwing shade my way. That's why. No, I honestly think Tuig's been the player that he's been since he started playing. He's just a dominant. You just got to watch his matches from last year. His matches from last year were incredible to watch. But as I said, him and Tim together are insane. So it's gonna be hard to topple them and to take that championship. And it's nothing against Necro. I think they work together. They work together well. Yeah. I just don't think that they work together on the same level that Tim and Tuig work together.
Well, here's my hot take, and you guys can put this on your fucking promos that you want. I think only 3 teams in fandom currently won't get KO'd by Knights of Ren. That's Mischief Managed, Ascendant, and Sunlight Hoth. Everyone else gets knocked out.
I think Necro goes to 5 this round. I don't know, but I have a feeling that Necro goes to 5.
I think the biggest issue that we see with a lot of fandom teams, and this is different than every other geek situation. I think fandom, you have players and you have teams who have very established and clear weaknesses. Necro is one of them. With Cody behind them, and with Nick and Tim being the dominant players that they are, they play on those weaknesses. I think very few teams in this division don't have weaknesses, and those three are the only ones.
I can see that. I can 100% see that. And this is the thing about having managers that I've liked having, because this year Cody's not he's getting into the game now with Mark Minchik, but I think Cody can manage and play. I don't think there's much when it comes to management on the Cinema Asylum side. I haven't really seen management. I tend to agree with other people when they say that it takes a little bit more to manage a team than it does to play and just be like, yeah, because you need that outside opinion. It's like, all right, you can do this. And I learned quick that my lesson of, no, I'm right and Coho's wrong, real quick during that Nazario match. Because if I would have went first, I might have scored some damn points in round 2. But
Doug, we'll get revenge. You'll get him again soon. Don't worry. We'll find him in Phantom and just punch him in an alley. You got this.
I don't want to cause violence. We're nice guys in the Kingsmen now.
I'm not a Kingsman. I can be an asshole all I want.
I'm not a heel. Not allowed to be a heel.
I mean, okay, so we can just keep on the fandom train. So as we go into video number 3. We have the rematch everyone's been waiting for and everyone's been terrified of. Scully versus 2-2. Holy shit. And then the final match of Mayhem at the Multiplex Trace is Wild Stallions versus the Concept. Let's start Scully 2. I'm scared. It's with these two, it's literally like, what's the comic book analysis that I can compare this to? Who's like the, I'm thinking more of like Superman versus another Superman.
Superman versus Ultraman?
Thomas Scully is Superman. Nick Tuig is Doomsday. Because either one of you could fucking murder each other. Because I think let's look at the way this turned out last time. Scully beat Tuig on Scully pitching a perfect game. That's what it took to beat Nick Tuig. And now we step into the 5-round field, and you're telling me that this is going to be a rematch? Like, I still take Scully in this, but this just makes me uneasy. Because, again, I think Tuig's a different player right now. I think he has evolved, even if just a little bit. I don't know if he would have done this last season. Him now, I don't know how he's beatable. I think Scully can do it, but it's literally like you're punching a wall.
It's going to be a very tough hill to climb, but if anybody can do it, is Scully. I think in the same notes that we said about Boat, it's the same thing with Scully. Scully is one of the most dominating fandom players that we probably have ever seen touch the game, next to Robert.
Yeah.
And Tuig it's literally a rock and a hard place, because this match is just going to be who's going to slip up first. That's all it is. This match could go overtime and go a couple rounds, or 17, 20, 40, 85 rounds of overtime. Referencing the co-host match. Co-host match was legendary. By the way, if you've not watched that match, go watch that damn match. That match was legendary. But no, I think, I'm going with Scully, obviously, not just because he's, part of the Kingsmen. I'm going with him because he's such a dominating force. I mean, I just honestly think it could be anyone's game.
Yeah, surely. And then we head into, holy shit, this was a quick episode. All right, awesome. As we get into the final match of Mayhem. I love short videos. I can actually take a fucking nap. We have Wild Stallions versus Concept of what a cheeseburger is all about. Wild Stallions.
I love that name.
Wild Stallions obviously earning the spot through fighting all the way through turmoil and then beating Caleb Bowman and Zach Ford at the end. Bombardment Society. I didn't forget their name. Bombardment Society in the end of that. And they're going up against Concept, who just won it back after losing the second reel before beating second real. It's complicated. Anyways, I'd really love if Jake and Michael weren't champions anymore, but they're still gonna be.
Yeah, I agree. I think Brian and Joseph are really good. They're a super solid team, but I think when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, Jake's such a dominating force in the same way we talk about Boat. Jake's just got that thing about him when it comes to Warzone. And Michael won the damn tournament. So let's be honest, he's no slouch either. His road was not easy. And I think them pushing themselves extra, a little bit further to retain the belt is not an unlikely scene. While saying that, Brian's Brian. Brian's an incredible player. So is Joseph. So this is just going to be seriously a battle of the gods when it comes down to it. I just I got to give it to Concept though, because I think they're gonna outscore him. I think that's what's gonna happen.
Well, I think the interesting thing to point out is I think more than any other team, this is evidence of two players who aren't 100% players coming together to form a 200% team. Because I think that Jake Marangoni, as we saw in his match against Holzman, there is a way to shake him. It's hard, but it can be done. And again, and with Michael, he started. I think he started this year like a 500 player. Like he's possible to be like. He's possible to miss a few questions that can cause him to lose a match. Together, those two are a dominant force. I think that while Stallions, and we saw it with the team tournament, Joseph has a lot of commitments on his plate right now, and he might not be able to study. Like, he showed up for this match. I know that. I can promise you that. But just because he showed up to play, I'm not sure if he showed up knowledge-wise. And that's the only thing that could hold that team back. Because I think, and we saw it with Brian's tournament play, he's really strong. He barely lost to Menchaca. And after Menchaca's legendary run. I think it's possible for them. But there's so many little things that just sort of build up to the possibility of I don't think Stallions can pull it through. That being said, they can beat them. Just it's going to be maybe the hardest match they've ever played. But again, I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, 100%. I think this will be the hardest if they pull it out. This will be the hardest match they've played. Because even over in Full Metal, Jake and Michael aren't teammates, so it's not like they faced anybody like that.
Yeah. So I think this is interesting because the way that we're sort of playing this at the end of Mayhem, Kingsmen, 2 belts, First Order, 2 belts.
Yeah. That's close to what it was started with.
It's like poetry, it rhymes.
It's a motif. It's a beautiful, beautiful motif.
Yeah, and I think coming out of this is going to be I think it's going to be really interesting because I think again I keep doing this and I don't know why. I want to stop. I think Coho is cultivating a great breed of players, meaning that these next few title defenses could just end up being Kingsman versus Kingsman again. Well, not again, but I think there's a possibility for that. And the way that Cody is managing Tim and Tuig, those two could defend Fandom forever. So it could literally just be Warzone and Fandom, those two just going head to head, trying to steal the other's position and the domination of it.
Yeah, 100%. I think setting all biases aside, I'm friends with pretty much everybody in both factions. I think everybody in both factions are amazing trivia players. I think it's honestly this year is going to come down to the final event. This year for who's taken top bill for manager of the year. I got you, Coho. But no, I'm really excited to see what happens in the second half of this year because I think the second half, it's always going to be really good towards the first half. You watch the first half and it's amazing. The second half is where all things happen.
Yeah,
it's where everything comes down.
And let's not forget, we still have the Fandom Teams tournament to go through. We had our singles, Warzone singles fandom and Warzone teams. My brain just died there. We still have fandom teams to play out. Something crazy come out of that. We have a bunch of teams playing in. We could have some surprising newcomers, namely, don't sleep on Brian and Jacoby's new team. Those two could upset some real fucking matches.
I love the name. I love
America's asses. Watch out. And this is, I wish I could reveal more, but I can't. But if you want to look out for one debuting fandom team this season, other than me, hi, Brian and Jacoby are the threat to climb this new team up.
I don't think you're wrong. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch them play. I honestly think we have the Fandom Teams tournament, and I think we're doing another Warzone teams kind of thing, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure if the math checks out on that. Hopefully, we'll get some
mini.
Yeah, I hope. What's it called? No teams tournament leading up to this. I think that's it. We're gonna say that for this week. Doug, we got some times. How are you feeling? How you doing, Boo?
I'm doing good, Boo. I'm excited. I want this year to get over so I can, be better. And hope that we just. I'm really excited to see where the factions lead at the end of this. I not anything against Cinema Asylum or Criterion. I just honestly think this year it's going to be a race between Kingsmen and First Order, like it was between Fellowship and the Kingdom last year. It's going to be a lot of fun, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right. For Doug and myself, that was Call to the Fan Leagues. I haven't done this show in 2 weeks, and I've already forgotten how to exit this. Stay inside, stay safe, wash your hands, wash your face, and I know
wear your damn mask.
Wear your damn mask. And I know, but I might be a little late for you right now. But please go get a good night's sleep, get some warm milk, some nice cookies, and just relax.
Are you calling me Santa Claus?
No, I'm just telling everyone to just make sure to take care of yourself. Times are rough right now. Everything's going to shit. Treat yourself, and in the words of Aziz Ansari and Retta, treat yourself. You deserve it.